Coach, good to see you. Welcome to HSBN Media Days. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having us.
Great. So, Coach, introduce yourself and the players you have here today.
Hi, my name is Joey Wardlow. We're St. Thomas Aquinas Raiders. Have Josh Jennings, senior. Zachary Malvasio, he's a senior. Andrew Alvarez, senior.
Awesome. Well, Coach, last year you went to the regional quarterfinals. How does this team feel about the change to the regional playoffs, going to the best of 3 series?
We understand going in that it's going to be taxing on everyone's pitching staff, but we've actually discussed this earlier that we think we're going to have a strong enough pitching staff, and we also have some guys that are two-way players that are going to play positions and be able to pitch. So, we're planning to get there and be conditioned at that time with enough guys that are pitching and have enough arms that we could be successful in that type of format.
Awesome. And you returned a lot of players from last season, and you added some high-quality transfers. What do you see this team is the strongest? Where do you see it?
What we've actually been working on is not as much focusing on the one strongest thing, but trying to have a balance between offense, defense. We're actually going to focus a lot more on base running. We have a big team, but we also have a fast team. So we're going to try to utilize all of that and be balanced all around so that we don't have to rely just on pitching. We don't have to rely just on hitting. So, there may be times when we're facing a really good arm that, the hitting's going to hard to be come by or pitching's going to come through. Pitcher might have a bad day, we're going to pick them up with runs. And that's kind of the plan we're trying to do as a team focus, that everything's balanced.
And Coach, your district mostly has familiar teams, but it got a little bit bigger. How valuable are those top seeds in your bigger district tournament like yours?
Well, this year they're going to be big because not only are they familiar, we know who they are, but they're good teams. There are teams actually that played in a higher classification that are now in our classification. So they've played against the bigger schools, so they have a lot of experience with that. So we're going to be, again, we kind of approach it looking at how we're going to take it into the games. But we also understand that our district is going to be much more difficult to get through because the teams are very good. And, there's some rivalry type games in there. There's some teams that we've played quite a bit in the last few years. But we're looking forward to it. It's a challenge. We're not going to back down from any challenges.
Any new teams that you see on the schedule this year that you haven't seen before?
Any new teams? There's some teams in the mix. We are going to play a weekend in Tampa where we play Tampa Jesuit, who's won 6, I think, out of the 7 last state championships. We're going to play Tampa Gaither, who we know they have a couple draft guys on that team, quite a few commits. They're a little bit bigger than we are. And, and kind of the familiar, challenging teams we're going to play. We play Spanish River, who's a higher classification than us. So we're kind of looking forward to, having that competition kind of build up our grit, so to say, to enter into the postseason.
And for the players, you're seniors, you're facing a tough schedule. Tell me how you're doing to prepare for that. And
well, realistically preparing for it, we want to have a tougher schedule going in because if we play weaker teams in the regular season, it's not going to get us ready for the playoffs. So we want to play the best in the regular season so that when we go into the playoffs, it's just like what we've been doing all year until we're comfortable in the moment and no one tries to do too much and we all just play like ourselves.
What for you?
Kind of like what he said, just facing those tough teams throughout the whole season. Even if you struggle a couple of those games, you learn from it and then you move forward. So that way, in the playoffs, you're already prepared and those mistakes don't happen. But I think playing a hard schedule, it makes you compete. It makes you guys come together and play as a team, not for each other. So when you play those hard games and you're really battling out there, it just shows that everybody's that common goal that wants to win, and we get to that last game and win that last game.
For you?
Our schedule is definitely tough. A lot of games this year, but throughout the fall, we do a lot of training to stay healthy, and that's one of our main focuses. So I think we'll be good throughout the year, and we'll see how it goes.
Awesome.
Coach Wardle, every team depends on chemistry for a successful season. Can you say a few words about Raiders baseball, the team makeup, the chemistry of this year's team?
Well, yeah. Well, chemistry is important, but I kind of believe chemistry comes from culture, and we kind of look at from the start. We talk about winning, and winning's important, but we talk about winning in the classroom. We talk about winning at home. We talk about winning at church. We talk about winning at practice, and we talk about winning in games. So we try to build that culture based on everyone understanding that that's going to be the way we do things. We take an approach at practice. I mean, it's not uncommon, not that I have to, but we'll start practice and I'll just say, look, we're starting right now. I need 2 hours and 15 minutes of everything you've got right now. And sometimes part of the chemistry comes from practices should be a bit harder than games. Okay, that way we keep up with the speed of the game. We conquer the moment. We're aware of those things that are going to happen. We try to create some situations in practice that are uncomfortable so that we can be comfortable being uncomfortable. And when we do that, each guy's kind of looking out for some of the other guys. Like you said, we're heavy as far as seniors, but our young guys have also been around. So, our guys that are juniors have been on the team last year, and a couple of them even when they were freshmen. So that kind of being together all the time has created a great chemistry.
What position do you guys play? Did you inherit your position? Did you have to compete for it? Are you two-way guys?
I'm a catcher / first baseman. I'm mainly last year I mainly played a lot of first base. We had a senior catcher, but this year I'm rolling into a catcher, and I'm gonna try to see how long I can go with it. Try to stay healthy all year, be a catcher all year is the plan.
For me, I'm a two-way player, so I'm in the outfield and right field, as well as pitching, mainly in a closing role. So I'll come in to close the tight games, or if we're up by a couple, just close that door and get the win. But mainly an outfielder. I can play a little bit of infield as well, but mainly outfielder pitcher.
I'm a third baseman. I could play anywhere in the infield. Last year, coming into St. Thomas was my first year. Coach Warlow made it very clear that nothing's given here at St. Thomas, so we all had to work for our positions and our spots.
And Coach, you have a small army assembled for a coaching staff. How valuable is it that the program having all these assistant coaches, most notably the legend for your team?
Coach Waters.
Well, it's interesting when you talk about the number of coaches we have, and they can't wait to give their time every year. Coach Waters and I teach at the school. The rest of the staff have different careers and businesses and things they do, but they bring something different. So we have guys that work with the pitchers that kind of have like a youthful view. We have a philosophical view. We have Coach Waters, obviously, the ledge that I depend a lot on him during games because he's, I want to say mostly quiet during games, but he's observing things. So as I'm kind of looking one way, he's kind of looking at everything else. And we have everyone kind of strategically set with their group that they work with, and then we all come together and meet. And like Andrew said, in the fall, our catching coach, Ronnie Milo, extensive fitness and conditioning program, because it's a long season, but it becomes a fast season. And this year, there's more games compressed into less time. So the value of being healthy is going to be important. So, and we kind of can't start that value now. We had to start that in September. So that's when the weights and the conditioning started.
And for the players, having this many great coaches, does really help your game, you think?
Oh yeah, it definitely elevates it because the amount of coaches we have, we all take little aspects of what each coach, because they all know something else about the game and they all have a different perspective on it. So when they all give it to us, they tell us what will work best for us and not what worked best for them. So it really helps out because they try to sway what they're teaching us to our type of players. So at the end of the day, they try to elevate us to as high as we can be.
Just like, to piggyback on that, each and every coach brings a certain thing to the team. Each and every one has a certain thing that they like to preach on and what they teach. I think it's important to learn that, and they also, not only is it baseball lessons, but it's also life lessons as well. They're teaching us, valuable life lessons about, hard work, teamwork, responsibility, accountability, all that kind of stuff. So that all plays a major role in our success. And I think it's very important to have those guys around. And like he said about our strength coach, he's really big on nutrition and staying healthy. I think that's one of the most important things, is staying on the field for as many games as you can as a team, and I think that's going to lead to great success this season.
Oh, with that many coaches, there's not really any time at practice that we're just sitting around doing anything. So it's great to have all those coaches. So one for the infield, outfield, two. So it's just great.
So Coach, take us out. What can we expect from your program this year?
What we can expect is, our culture, our clubhouse, kind of the main thing you see is it's not about me. So we go into it thinking that it's going to be about winning. But we can I expect to see aggressive on offense, aggressive on defense, and we talk a lot about grit and determination. Playing every pitch, this moment, and what I'm going to do with it, and playing it with intent. Okay, there's no such thing as taking a pitch off. So if that's how we go into it, we're going to be successful. If we have to adjust, we adjust. And, baseball's about kind of adjustments anyway. But we intend to do everything with intent, and that's the plan.
Awesome. Well, we wish you the best of luck for the season. Thanks for coming out today.
Thank you for having us.
We'll see you on the field soon.
Thank
All
you.
right, we appreciate it. Thank you.